The 5-lap Formula Vee race, sponsored by Pete's Golf Factory, and a full team of cars up to par. As the starter. And they're away. In pole position is car 40, Robert Bennett in a Kingfisher from Victoria. Beside him on the front row was 27, Peter Thomas, and then Steve Wright in car 26. Two local drivers in Nimbus cars. And that's one of the Nimbuses we see coming out of the slipstream at the end of the first lap, in third position.
What a bunch of 10 cars up at the front end of the field. Very even in qualifying, and even more even in the racing. Incredibly close.
First of the Formula Vees falls by the wayside. It's car 23, Alan Walker in the Alpha. But it's 40, Bennett, who leads the race. Car 22, Bronte Rundle, second position. Rundle to appear later in the day in the Australian Gold Star Championship. Sorry, it's not Rundle, it's car 27, Paul Thomas in the Nimbus, which makes more sense. Why would Rundle be driving here when he's driving in the Gold Star as well, in quite a different sort of car? And now Thomas comes out of the slipstream to challenge Bennett down the straight for the second time. Tucked in behind is Peter Ormsby in the new generation Elfin, and he takes over second slot, while car 26, Steve Wright, slots into fourth position. Wright's car identical to that of the new race leader Thomas, both of them Nimbuses, Nimbi.
Five laps is 12 kilometres around Adelaide Raceway. It's the Formula Vees cover quite smartly, because they get round corners very quickly, have to do very little braking because their terminal speeds are not very high, so most parts of most circuits, more than for most cars, are straights for Formula Vees, foot flat to the floor.
The sum total of the horsepower of the entire field would not make up Peter Brock's V8 power, which you'll be seeing shortly in the Australian Touring Car Championship. As again, car 40, Bennett comes out of the slipstream and goes for it down the inside, joined by Ormsby on the middle of the front row.
Probably the same goes for their annual budget to go racing.
Indeed. As now 26, Stevie Wright comes down the inside and takes over the lot of them to take the lead from fourth position, joined by Ormsby, tucked in behind him, then car 40, Bennett in third position. And back in fourth position is Peter Thomas. Paul Thomas, I'm sorry. Will Hagan, who's already proved he can remember with his commentary on the Group N historic touring cars, says that Stevie Wright is claiming an easy beat up there in the lead, for those who can remember music.
He's trying to pop another couple of jokes, this Wales lad. In fact.
And down the inside now comes Thomas, doing exactly what Wright did on the previous lap.
Steve Wright looks to me.
And 23 has taken a wheel off his motor car. That's Walker, Alan Walker in the Elfin.
Steve Wright, obviously one of the front runners for victory in a race that is still very close, and in Formula V terms could probably go to any of the first half dozen, but most races there's no better place to be than out front. This is Steve Wright. But it's not the case necessarily in Formula V. They say you want to be second onto the final lap in Formula V so you can hook out of the slipstream, take the lead before the twisty stuff and lead to the line.
Car 44 in second position is Eric Marsh, who's come virtually from nowhere. In fact, from 8th position on the grid to take over second place. And that's the story of Formula V racing. the blue flag quite unnecessarily out as they come down the straight. The one thing you can always guarantee in Formula Vee racing is if you look in your mirror, you will see someone there. Wright moves right across in front of the field. We're now on the last lap. 40. Bennett takes back second position. But there's more than half the circuit remaining and anything could happen. In third position is Ormsby, car 6.
He was second in the South Australian Series last year, Ormsby.
It's a strong Formula field in South Australia, actually. Wright still in the lead, 2 corners remaining. Bennett's now got 1 corner in which to make it happen, and he now moves up to make his challenge. But unless there's a last-minute change as they come down the straight, it'll be Steve Wright who waves his hands to acknowledge the lead from Robert Bennett in the Kingfisher, car 40, and Peter Ormsby in car 6 in the new generation Elvin. Another very close Formula Vee race.